Hello Crafty Llamas! In this video I'll be showing you the difference between inline and tapered crochet hooks. So what I've got here is I've got one of each crochet hook that we sell at Crafty Llama at the moment. So I've got everything from kind of the Tunisian hooks on either end to your ergonomic and then your standard crochet hooks in the middle. So there's often quite a lot online about the difference between tapered and inline hooks and what is best for beginners or experienced crocheters. From my experience, it's whatever you find best for you. Each crocheter or knitter will find that a different hook will work best for them. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you what the difference is in terms of the hooks. So what we're going to be looking at is basically it's between the neck and the shaft of the hook. So when I talk about these things, this is obviously your hook, this is the neck here, and then this main section here, the handle, is also known as the shaft of the hook. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at how it transitions between the shaft to the head through the neck of the hook. So here I've got your likey hook, as you can see here in your grey driftwood. And so what we're looking at is the back of the crochet hook, like so. So here we are. So you can see the kind of backs here. So I'm going to get, so these are both inline hooks. And I'm just going to get you a tapered to make it easier to see why it's inline versus tapered. Oh, these are all the same size as well. These are all the same size hooks, so they're all 5mm. So if we've got one here next to each other, so your inline essentially means that the size of your shaft transitioning down the neck and to the hook of your crochet hook is the same size throughout. A tapered hook literally means just that between the shaft through the neck to the tip is going to taper. So what you can see here, ever so slightly, is that it does actually dent inwards about here. So if we turn that over, try to pop that down so we can see a little bit better. There we go. It's very bright in this room today. So what you can see here is that it does actually kind of taper in towards the head of the hook, that little bit on either side. Whereas if I get the inline hook next to it, what you can see is that it's just completely straight. So what this means, and the difference is with a tapered hook, what is more likely to happen is that your stitches are going to be tighter, which for beginners can sometimes cause a little bit of trouble. And that's because when you make your hook and your loops, you're doing it on the neck of the crochet hook. So if you think about it, if you're looking at it straight on like so, that this section is a lot smaller than the section further up on your hook, which means that your stitches are going to be smaller, which means they're going to be tighter and you might have more issues with tension. Whereas with an inline hook, like this one here, it's because the hook is the same size across, all the way across the neck, it means that your stitches are going to be more consistent in size with a better tension. So that's kind of the basic difference. And the easiest way to see that is if you look at your hooks from the back. And as you can see here, completely straight throughout the back, whereas this one, you can see that indent. And that is really the quickest way and easiest way to tell if you've got an inline or a tapered crochet hook. So I'm just going to quickly take you through a couple of kind of main brands and what sort of tips they have or what sort of hooks they are. So the higher here that I've got, these are the higher aluminium crochet hooks. They are tapered hooks. This is, as I've said, your driftwood. That's your 6-inch crochet hook. That is an inline. Here we have the Nipro Ginger. This is a Tunisian crochet hook. And as you can see from the back, that is a straight shaft. So that is an inline hook, like your likey. I do have to say though, it does taper ever so slightly towards the tip of the hook. So this is kind of a nice in-between hook. So whilst it doesn't really look like it gets that much thinner, if you look at it from the top, it does actually thin out just a little bit. So this is kind of an in-between. If we put these on kind of a scale from tapered to kind of inline, that's kind of an in-between hook. I've then got the Pro Symphony, so this is just your bog standard crochet hook from Pro Symphony. And once again, this is a bit of an in-between. So Nipro are quite nice in that they do kind of fit both styles. Once again, if we just have a look at this from the back, there's not much tapering, but there is a small amount, but it's not a significant taper by any means. And then I've got the Pro Symphony Tunisian crochet hook. So these are your interchangeable hooks. And once again, this is exactly the same as your other one. I just wanted to kind of establish that. They are, to be fair, actually, the Tunisian crochet hooks do taper a little bit more than your standard crochet hook from Symphony. Let's have a look at those. This one here is your Tunisian and this one is your standard. The Tunisian Symphony does tend to taper a little bit more than your standard Symphony crochet hook. And then the last two that I've got the Tulip Etimo Rose crochet hook here. And as you can see, this is fairly straight with a small amount of tapering just at the very tip, but it's not that much. It's actually easier to see from the front on this one that it is a little bit more tapered and that it does just come in just a little bit towards the very tip. But on average, it's a very slight tapering. And then here we have the Nipro Waves Ergonomic crochet hook. These are a soft touch crochet hook. And these are also a very slight taper. This is probably one of the more severe tapers I actually have, and it's also quite severe in its dip in the neck itself as well. So it dips there, but it also tapers in just a little bit right here. You can also, if you have your crochet hook, sometimes you can feel the indent as it tapers towards the tip. And it's just, if you run your hand along, sometimes you can feel that. And this is one of those where you can actually feel that it's tapered. So that is a tapered over this side. And then we've got a kind of inline, but not completely inline, to completely inline over here. So we've then got our higher, which is also tapered on this side. We then have the ginger, which is slightly tapered. We've got the Tunisian, which is kind of in between, slightly tapered and a little bit more. And then we also have the Symphony on the other side, which is slightly tapered, but not completely inline. So I would say the only true inline crochet hook that I currently have in stock is the Likey Driftwood. And the rest all feature some form of tapering to kind of different degrees. Between the Ergonomic, your more inline is your Tulip and your tapered is your Nipro. And then in the middle, you have your three kind of Nipros, which all feature some form of tapered head, but to different degrees. So that's it. If you have enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please do let me know by commenting below and liking it. We do have weekly videos, so please do subscribe to my channel. Our social media handle is Crafty Llama UK, so you can find us on various platforms using that. And of course, you can purchase all of the crochet hooks that I've discussed today from our shop, which I will link below. That's it for this week's video, but I'll be back with you next week for another one. Bye!